شاهدت الصور أحب الوفي الأمين الأغر فأهل الوفاء كلون السحاب وحسن الربيع أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم سيدنا محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord, cherisher, nourisher, sustainer and master of the universe, the most gracious, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Ya Allah, it is only you that we worship and it is your guidance that we seek. Ya Allah, keep us in the straight path. Ya Allah, show us the choice of blessings. Ya Allah, show us the mercy. Ya Allah, guide us. Greetings, salams, salutations on our beloved Nabi, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is now 2 minutes past 8 on this Saturday morning, the 19th of October 2024, the 15th of Rabiul Thani 1446. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Rise and Shine on Radio Al Ansar with myself, Faizal MJ Suleman. Undoubtedly, it is an absolutely beautiful day today. Today's Rise and Shine has been produced by Hajra Kota, and my tech in the studio this morning is Brother Asfat Fili, and inshallah ta'ala, that's going to be your team for Rise and Shine this morning. Asfat's all excited and ready to go, and he told me that he's got some lovely nasheeds lined up for us as well. So Asfat, I'm depending on you to listen to some lovely nasheed like you normally play. And of course, this is an interactive program, and I look forward to your inspirational WhatsApp messages as well on 060-904-1056. To start off this morning, we'll play a little audio clip, and it's the Yasmin Mujaddid would be discussing with us trusting Allah when life is hard, in times of hardship and despair. It's easy to feel alone, but as Muslims, we find strength in the reminder that Allah SWT help is always near. So let's listen to this clip by Yasmin Mujahid.
We are not alone. And Allah reminds us, Ala inna nasrullahi qareeb. Indeed, the help of Allah is near. The fact that the Prophet ﷺ said that no pain or hurt or anxiety or worry or depression or sadness inflicts a believer, even the prick of a thorn, except that it's removing sins from them like leaves falling from a tree. And allow me to remind you of this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, just to put things into context. أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِن قَبْلِكُمْ. Do you think that you'll enter paradise without going through that which those who came before you went through? مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. They went through hardship, adversity. They were so shaken until even the messengers and those with the messengers called out asking, when will the help of Allah come? Mata Nasrullah. A lot of us, we've reached points in our lives where we felt this. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that we are on the same path as those who came before us. And they went through things so difficult that even the messengers and the people with the messengers asked, Mata Nasrullah. We are not alone. And Allah reminds us, Ala inna nasrullahi qareeb. Indeed, the help of Allah is near. If nothing else, it becomes the reason that you enter Jannah. Then did that person hurt you? Or should you be sending them thank you cards? Did that person really hurt you? Yes, they hurt you. But see, there's external hurt and there's real internal, the real kind of harm. And the truth is, no one can actually harm you. That it's all dependent on your response. And if you respond in the right way, then the words of the Prophet ﷺ apply to you. That everything is good for you. عَجَبٌ لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ أَمْرُهُ كُلُّ خَيْرٍ. That his matters are all good. It is in our hands. It's not in the hands of the people. It's in our hands because we choose how we respond. We choose how we respond. And if a person responds in the way the Prophet ﷺ tells us, either patience or gratitude, then no matter what people do to you, they can't actually hurt you. No matter what people do to you, no matter what comes your way, nothing can actually harm you, even if externally it looks like it was harm. Do you guys understand? Externally, the shot, it hurts. But the reality is that it was actually good for you. And this becomes our choice. We have to take back that power. We can't let other people have that power over us. We have to take back that power in how we respond. And we don't allow others to break us. The way in which you do not allow others to break you is by your ability to respond in the way that grows you rather than breaks you. And by forgiving, you're taking back that power. Because you're saying, you can't control me. You can't break me. I am going to take whatever has happened in my life and I'm going to use it to become stronger. And I'm going to let it go. And I'm going to forgive, not for you, but actually for me. I'm going to forgive because number one, that frees me. And most importantly, it allows me to get the forgiveness of Allah. So it's a win-win. But you have to change the way you see it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you an opportunity to gain the forgiveness of Allah by forgiving those who have hurt you. Now, how is it that we can get to a point where we can change the way we view our history, our past? See, if you change the way you see what that person or that situation did to you, it becomes a lot easier to forgive. Because no longer did they destroy you. No longer did they ruin your life, because you realize that in fact it was actually good for you. Realize that this life was never designed to be perfect. One of the problems that we fall into is when we expect perfection. And if we expect perfection, when it is not perfect, we become extremely, deeply devastated. And the level of our devastation is in proportion to the level of our expectation. So we expect perfection from people. We expect perfection from life. And life isn't perfect and people aren't perfect. And so it becomes a lot easier to forgive when you have the proper expectations. But this is about expectations, right? And so if we have an expectation of perfection from people, we're going to be a lot less likely to let things go. We're going to be a lot more angry. But if we realize that people are imperfect, if we realize that life is imperfect, then we are a lot more tolerant, more able to forgive, right? Again, let me reiterate, assuming that it is not abuse, it is not injustice in that sense or mistreatment that you continue to allow to happen. But we forgive the past. And we forgive because we are desperately in need of the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
In the sands of ancient Arabia, a light began to shine. A man of truth and mercy, with a heart so divine. From the Mount of Hira, a message came to him. A prophet for the ages, to guide us from within. Oh Muhammad, a messenger of peace. From your words and from your wisdom, our souls can find release. Oh Muhammad, In every prayer you prayed, you showed the path of mercy, the light that never fades. In the face of adversity, you stood so strong and true. With kindness and with wisdom, you showed what faith can do. From Mecca to Medina, your journey paved the way. A legacy of love and hope we honor every day. A messenger of peace, from your words and from your wisdom, our souls can find release. Oh Muhammad, in every prayer you prayed, you showed the path of mercy, the light that never fades. In the prayers that we offer, in the lives that we lead, your message lives within us, in every word and every deed. Oh Muhammad, in you we find our way. The light will always guide us through each and every
Radio Al-Ansar. Come get our butcher's best for less at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like Chabot Wurst Thick, $79.99 per kg. Extra lean beef mince, just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic Beef Porterhouse Steak, just 13 Rand per 100 grams and 39 Rand per 300 grams. Deals valid from Monday, October 7th until Sunday, October 20th. Only at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across a butchery, bakery and deli.
Hungry for flavour? Head over to Nando's Pavilion, Westfield Mall or Oceans Mall, where our flame-grilled peri-peri chicken is always fresh and flavourful. Experience our hospitality by dining in at Nando's Pavilion, Westfield Mall or Oceans Mall, which are all NIHT certified, and stand a chance to win a holiday getaway for four, valued at 10,000 Rand at the Umhlanga Sands. Nando's! Fire it up!
As promised at last year's Durban Summer Cirque, part of our profits will go to making a real difference in our community. The Al-Ansar Foundation proudly completed its first borehole for the community of Redcliffe. With water shortages affecting many, our mission is clear. Let's bring clean water to more areas in need. Join us in making an impact. Call outreach on 031 208 1601 or visit alansar.org.za to help build more boreholes and transform lives. You've played it previously.
Ladies and gentlemen, pop up the volume.
The breakfast rush brain squeeze.
5,200 Rand. Mrs. Abdul Salam, welcome.
Walaikum salam. You have to give a little. People in 10 seconds is not easy on a little. Now, come on. No fake. Carry on.
She just shushed me on radio. Jazakallah for being such an amazing and entertaining caller. We love that you
No
listened to the program.
problem.
Thank you so much for time. I kid you not, that was one of the most entertaining calls we've taken for a while.
It's back on the Breakfast Rush.
Radio Al-Ansar, 24/7, 365.
أحب الوفاء بشتى الصور.
You're listening to Rise and Shine on Radio and Sound with myself, Faizal MJ Suleman. Now, cataracts remain the leading cause of blindness globally, despite being completely preventable. In South Africa, an estimated 250,000 people are blind due to untreated cataracts. We're honored to have in the studio with us this morning Dr. Jerusha John, a member of the Right to Sight Trust. Dr. John, good morning to you, and thank you for joining me on the program this morning.
Good morning, Faisal. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure. Now, I introduced you as a member of the Right to Sight Trust. Tell us a little about the Right to Sight Trust.
So the Right to Sight Trust is sort of an arm of our parent body of the Ophthalmological Society of South Africa, which has, we see a social responsibility to give back to our community. So that is, we are involved in outreach programs and things like that. Yes.
Excellent. Now, I did introduce the topic as, we're discussing cataracts. Now, as I said, cataracts remain the leading cause of blindness globally. And I also said that in South Africa, an estimated 250,000 people are blind due to untreated cataracts. Now, why do you think that cataract treatment has not been scaled up to meet the demand, given that surgery is a cost-effective intervention?
Yes, you're right. There's a huge amount of people that are blind from cataracts. the little blurb that we have is that it's preventable blindness, but it's actually, we cannot prevent cataracts because it is a natural process of aging. The older we get, the duller our lenses inside our eyes get. We call that then cataract. And then it's a surgery which is quick and reverses that element of blindness. But it requires skill. It requires people who are well versed in doing these surgeries. It requires teamwork from doctors, nurses, management to be able to carry out these surgeries in a safe, under safe conditions. So, yeah.
Now, many public hospitals in South Africa lack the ophthalmologists and resources required to treat cataracts. What would be the most urgent solutions to address this issue and reduce the backlog of patients waiting for surgery?
Yeah, so you're right. We're talking about resources again. We have a very small number of ophthalmologists in the country compared to other disciplines. But a cataract surgery doesn't need an ophthalmologist. A medical officer can also conduct these surgeries, but it comes down to a matter of human resources. Do we have the manpower, womanpower available to be able to reach the larger community? So the issue is although we may have consumables and software and hardware at our disposal, we need people to actually get in there. So, and then your question was about what we can do to upscale. Yeah, so if we can get more staff on board, that would be first prize. Really, the more people we have trained in this discipline, the more people we have trained in cataract surgery, the more the load is shared. And it's not just doctors, it's nurses as well. We work as a team.
Now, I think I did mention that, sorry, man. We understand that the cataracts can develop earlier and more rapidly in people with diabetes.
Yeah.
Now, how important is diabetes management in preventing early cataract formation? And what role does education around this issue play in your work?
So diabetes is extremely common amongst our population. And as you say rightly, can lead to earlier cataracts, but not just cataracts. Diabetes has dire consequences in the whole eye. And if not managed and controlled, can lead to a state where the blindness becomes irreversible. However, cataracts themselves can develop earlier in a diabetic. So diabetics all need to have screening done of their eye, especially the retina, the back of the eye. And if there are cataracts that are preventing that screening process, that needs to be addressed via surgery.
At what age do these cataracts normally occur? I know you say it comes over time, but from what age should one be testing for these cataracts?
So largely cataracts are, we see the worsening effects of duller and duller lenses in the elderly because it develops with age. So the same way we go gray, the same way we get wrinkles, if we all get old enough, we'll all get cataracts. So other things can lead to earlier cataract development. As we said, diabetes is one. Trauma is another. Trauma, even if it was decades ago, can lead to cataracts and even an asymmetry between your vision, between your both eyes, because trauma usually is then on the one side. So other things that can cause cataracts, there are certain conditions in childhood. So one can see children with cataracts. So there are many different reasons why cataracts develop, but by and large, we see them in the elderly because of the age.
And what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about cataracts and eye health in general? And how can the public become more aware of preventative measures?
So I think that with cataracts and them developing gradually, one sort of gets used to the idea that this is my vision. And I don't see an actual difference perhaps until it is quite advanced. So it's not necessarily that patients will present earlier even though they have cataracts. They just don't notice it. But one does need to consider the difference between the two eyes, as well as is your vision actually deteriorating? I'm at my age, I probably also have a small degree of cataract. However,
You mean
functionally,
you mean it's not so early in life? Okay.
so functionally, it does not affect me. But for someone else, it would be for some, perhaps somebody older than me, to not be able to make yourself a cup of tea, to not be able to see, to walk 10 steps in front of you. That's functional disability. So the main symptom is loss of vision. There's nothing else that goes with it, like pain or irritation. Loss of vision is the main symptom. And if you have that, it may not just be cataracts, maybe something else. But the most common condition is cataracts. So one would need to go to your local clinic, whether it is your GP, whether it is your optometrist, or an ophthalmologically trained sister, to have an assessment done, because perhaps the loss of vision is just due to a glasses problem, where perhaps glasses can improve your vision, or the optometrist may pick up something else more than cataract. So one needs to have a full eye assessment made before deciding this is the diagnosis and this is how we're going to treat it. But with cataracts, I think if you're noticing your vision is dropping, please do go and present to your local clinic or optometrist to have your eyes assessed, because perhaps a very simple, quick procedure can be done to reverse the condition and restore your sight.
Now, there's a question that's come through. All they ask is that they refer to certain medication. I'm not going to mention those names. What they want to know is that, is there any medication, or they refer particularly to a tablet, that can help cataracts? Or do you have to do surgery?
No, that would be a miracle drug. There's no such drug available, no medicine to help reverse cataracts. Unfortunately, not currently.
Okay, actually they refer to a tablet. They said my wife used to take this, a very expensive tablet, 250 mg for the eye, but obviously that's not for cataract. So let's thank you for that question, Brother Junaid.
Yes, thank you for that question. One thing one can do is to protect your eyes from UV light, but it's not necessarily going to prevent you getting cataract, but it may slow down the rate.
There's another question that's come through. It says that if my optometrist told me 2 years ago that, look, in the next 8 to 10 years, you'll be developing cataracts, I can see it starting. Is that correct? Does it take that long to develop?
It can. It can take many, many years, decades even.
So are there any preventative measures that one can take?
So again, nothing preventative.
Okay.
But just to be cautious with your vision, with your eyesight, wear the sunglasses. For your skin, put on the sunscreen, all these things. Take your vitamins, eat a balanced diet, live a balanced lifestyle. All those things contribute to overall general health and wellness. So the eyes are part of that. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, although cataracts are often associated with aging, as you said, what advice would you give to the younger people to protect their eye health and reduce the risk of developing cataracts? So, I know you did mention the lifestyle, but let's go beyond that.
If you do notice any change in your vision, even if it's small, even if it's not a change in vision, perhaps if it is something else, some pain, some irritation, pain in sunlight, not being able to be in a brightly lit room, those types of things all have to do with your eye health. Go and see a doctor for that. It may make the difference, and you don't have to live with these symptoms. It may be able to be resolved. So please go and see someone. Don't wait.
Yes, and I'm sure recently with our famous cell phone and our continuous viewing this thing, sleeping with it, many of us, I'm sure this aggravates a condition.
So I think you probably mean in terms of having to
Lack of
look
sight.
near all the time and not having a reduced blink rate,
Mhm.
the light from the phone. These are not contributory
They're not.
factors
Okay.
to cataract development.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
There's a question that's come through. That's from one of the listeners. I'm not sure if it's got anything to do with cataracts, but you can deal with it if you want to. Okay. It says, Salams, can you please update me on macular hole? And I was told that my sight is very poor. And I'm not sure if that's related to your field.
It's related to ophthalmology. Everything about the eye is related to
Okay.
ophthalmology. A macular hole is a complete change in tack. It's not to do with cataracts at all.
Okay.
There are different reasons why a macular hole will develop. So the macula is that area of your retina that gives you your central vision, the vision that you need to look at things. So to look at people's faces, to read your book, to watch the TV. That area is prone to damage. As we get older and things get thinner in the eye, the jelly of the eye gets thinner, the retina gets thinner. This area of the eye can also get thin, and then it sounds funny to say one has a hole in one's eye. It's actually just a separation of tissues.
Okay.
It's not, we just term it macular hole, but it's not that there's a hole in your eye.
I was just wondering.
The eye is still a closed system. It's just that the tissues have separated. But this has nothing to do with cataracts, though. Although if one has a cataract in the condition of a macular hole, one can still have the cataract surgery done, but one would still have that central area of vision lacking. So there is surgery to address that situation, but it's tricky and finicky surgery, different to cataract surgery, as well as the outcomes may not be what one always hopes for it to be, in terms of vision.
Now, there's been a lot of technological advancements insofar as cataract surgery is concerned. I mean, I recall there was a time when it was a major thing to go for it. Today, it's like just one of those things. When I say one of those things is not as problematic as it used to be. You just talk to us about the technological developments.
So,
what can I expect if I'm going for a cataract operation on Monday?
Okay, so
that might be an easier way to put it.
Okay, I can take you through kind of a walkthrough of what the patient would experience. So, firstly, the eye needs to be assessed in totality to see what are the actual reasons for the visual loss. If it is decided cataract is a contributing factor, one would then have a cataract surgery booked on a theater slate. So it's not done in the doctor's rooms, it's done in theater.
Okay.
So in order to prepare for that surgery, you have your eyes tested. In order for us to have the correct measurements for your eye, because someone else's eye will have different measurements. So it's like when you go to an optometrist and you test for spectacles, you're not going to see any clearer if you use someone else's spectacles. The correct measurements need to be done on your own eye. And then when it's time for theater on the day, it's a day case. You come in the morning, you get prepared for theater, change into the theater gear, get drops into your eyes. When you get to theater, you can get more drops in your eye to numb your eye, or even a tiny injection in the tissues around the eye to numb the area, so that the surgery is comfortable for you. Excuse me. So we don't want the patient to have any pain, and a lot of patients actually fall asleep during the surgery.
Is it? Okay.
Well, you lie on the operating table. The sister cleans the eye. We cover the face and the body with clean, sterile drapes. We dress the eye and we work on the eye with very tiny, tiny cuts, just a quarter of a centimeter and less. And then we wash out the cataract, do the work. And then because the cataract is one's own lens inside the eye, which we are born with as clear lenses, and with time they become dull, it's one's own lens that has become dull. When we wash that lens or cataract out, we then replace it with a synthetic material inside the eye. It's like wearing spectacles on the inside of your eye, measured for you.
Amazing.
And then that stays in lifelong. So we take out the dull lens, we put in a clear lens.
Okay.
You see,
Okay.
and it's 15, 20 minutes, and the surgery is done.
Wow.
Then your eye gets dressed. You get medications. You come in the next day for your checkup, and all subsequent appointments are also important to keep.
So are you under full anesthetic? How does it work? No.
No. By far, it's a local anesthetic. So again, the injection around the tissues of the eye or the eye drops. If for some reason the patient cannot tolerate this type of procedure under local anesthetic, then we would move to general anesthetic. But there are very few and far between those cases.
Okay, let's I asked you when we started to tell us what's Right to Sight about. Right to Sight Trust, what's it about? Before we round up, I'm sure there's a lot of outreach efforts that are taking place in so far as eye care is concerned. Maybe you can just appraise us of some of those efforts.
Yeah, so this month, October, spanning from September to October, is Eye Awareness Month.
Okay.
It comes around every year. And on the 10th of October or 10th and 11th, the World Sight Day. So there have been outreach efforts across the country during this month. And not just during this month, although this is Eye Awareness Month. We have outreach efforts the whole year through to address the backlog of cataracts in the country, it's dire and it's reversible blindness. So, for example, I can give you just down the road, we have McCourt Hospital. We have an amazing team of doctors and nurses there who are doing lots of these surgeries, hundreds a month. So during the past week, we have, not this week, the previous week, we've had every day a different NGO coming to help sponsor consumables in order to get these surgeries done for the community. And last week, there were 246 surgeries done at McCourt Hospital.
Wow.
We had another outreach effort. That is just in 1 week. We had another outreach effort in Port Shepstone Hospital on the previous weekend. We reached 83 people.
Fantastic.
So, and NGOs like Gift of the Givers, Al-Imdad, they're coming on board, many NGOs, to try and alleviate the problem. Again, it's the matter of having a lack of human resources. So we would love to have more staff on board, to get more doctors trained to do the surgery, to get more nurses, scrub sisters, to have this element of camaraderie and teamwork. And it's a joyous thing. When these surgeries are done, everybody is elated to have helped so many people.
Absolutely. In fact, I spoke to a few people by chance who had these cataracts things sorted out. And see, that's amazing. They're experiencing a new world now.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. There's quite a few questions that have come through, but I'm not going to pose them because none of them are related to cataracts. But the one, I'm just going to make one comment that's come through. It comes from, it says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Always interesting programs. What about the saying that carrots are good for the eyes? Is that true?
Carrots are good for your eyes, as are all other vegetables, and a balanced diet.
Okay. Dr. Jerusha John, thank you very much for joining me in the program this morning.
Thanks.
I think it's
Thanks
very
so much.
interesting discussion, but I'm sure you have a small message for our listeners.
We want to help you. If you have a problem with your eyes, please just come and we will see what we can do to help you. I'd like to just also thank my colleagues at McCourt Hospital, Port Shepstone Hospital, for doing amazing work. You know, these outreach efforts, they're not just involved it's not just public sector doctors that are involved, it's private sector doctors that are also coming on board, giving off their own free time and energy to help just give back and do something for the community, because we can see the struggle is real.
Thank you so much. We spoke to Dr. Jerusha John, a member of the Right to Sight Trust. She spoke to us about cataracts. And of course, cataracts do remain the leading cause of blindness globally, despite being completely preventable. So this is a preventable situation. Do take the necessary steps.
Ya Nabi یا نبی یا نبی میرے مدینے والے آقا یا نبی بار بار مدینے میں ہو جائے میرا جان آقا بار بار مدینے میں ہو جائے میرا جان پھر اور نہ کچھ مانگے سرکار کا دیوانہ بار بار مدینے میں ہو جائے میرا جانا پل پل میرا دل تڑپے دن رات کرے زاری کب آؤ مدینے میں کب آئے میری باری کب جا کے میں دیکھوں گا دربار ہو شاہانہ دربار مدینے میں ہو جائے میرا جان آقا 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 اس آس پہ جیتا ہوں ایک روز بلائیں گے اور گنبد خضرا کا دیدار کرائیں گے پھر پیش کروں گا میں اشکوں بھرا نذرانہ بار بار مدینے میں آقا ہو جائے میرا جان آقا یا نبی یا نبی یا نبی میرے مدینے والے یا نبی اتنی سی تمنا ہے ہو جائے اگر پوری جا دیکھوں مدینہ میں ہو جائے یہ منظوری بن دید کیے چاہ مر جائے نہ دیوانہ بار بار مدینے میں آقا ہو جائے میرا جان آقا کعبہ بلا دے کعبہ بلا دو
Oh God, we're late, eh? Okay, message comes from Sister Leila Meta. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To the blessed room of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace, blessings and salutations be upon Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Another blessed day illuminates from sujood. Alhamdulillah, everyone we meet on the path of our lives has a purpose in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you and your loved ones eternal barakah, merciful forgiveness, ease and protection. Ameen. Have a blessed and safe weekend. Salams and duas. Sister Leila Meta and family, and her inspiring reflections are that it's special people we meet along life's road who help us appreciate the journey. The hadith that she sent to us says, Bismillah walhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, charity does not diminish wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not increase a man in anything for his pardoning others but in honor, and none humbles himself for Allah but Allah raises him. And this is reported in Tirmidhi. From Sister Ruqayya, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brother Faizal and the Rise and Shine team. Where there's a will, there's a way. Love and kindness are never wasted. They always make a difference. They bless the one who receives it, and they bless you, the giver. Ameen. No matter how dire our circumstances, we will overcome with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With every difficulty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us multiple eases. Some days the sea is friendly to sailors, and some days the sea is just tough as hell, and that's life. Not every day will be friendly to you. Some days are very, very tough. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, my brother Faizal, your family, and the entire ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ameen, ameen, summa ameen. Allah aap और आपकी फैमिली को हमेशा खुश और सलामत रखे इंशाल्लाह. Ameen. Text comes from Sister Ruqayya. Jazakallah khair for those messages.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.
Are you or a loved one battling the disease of addiction? Is your family, life, relationships, work suffering due to alcoholism and substance abuse? Zensai Treatment, Recovery and Wellness Center are addiction specialists offering specialized psychotherapy and naltrexone therapy to help overcome addiction. Zensai offers hotel-style facilities to allow your loved ones to regain their dignity and overcome alcoholism and drug abuse in the most comfortable setting possible. Fight addiction. Call Zensai Treatment, Recovery and Wellness Center, the Addiction Recovery Specialist, on 031 563 0751.
This November, embark on the sacred journey of Umrah with Worldview Travel. Experience drinking Zamzam in Mecca. Taste the sweet dates from the markets of Medina. From just 23,990 Rand, departing November 6th. 6 nights in Mecca, 5 nights in Medina, including daily breakfast. Book and pay by October 31st to secure your spot. Call 031 001 7062 or 071 835 0216. 55 Problem Kize Road, Durban. Worldview Travel. Travel the world with us.
Born into war, caught up in gangs, reformed in jail. Akhi Ayman from the UK, from running the streets to now filling up the masajid, motivating the youth after all he's been through.
And so on and so forth. Man, them are stressed, man, them are depressed. Why? Because you put everything in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before Allah.
Coming to you this October is the first ever Akhi Ayman South African tour, brought to you by the Deen Team and Al Misbah in conjunction with Ashraful Aid. 10th October in the Western Cape at the venue Aspired Country Manor in Skapkraal. 12th October in Gauteng at the Suleman Convention Center in Erasmia. And 14th October in Durban at the NMJ Islamic Center in Berea. Book before the 8th October on www.quicket.com.
Radio Al Ansar.
The average debt for households are now at its highest levels in 15 years. That's according to the latest Altron FinTech Household Resilience Index. In 2022, 6.7% of household income was used for debt costs. This number has now gone up to 9.1%. We say good morning to Professor Bonke Dumisa, an independent economic analyst who will be discussing this criteria with us. Professor Bonke Dumisa, good morning to you, and thank you for joining me on the program this morning.
Good morning to you and to all your listeners of Radio Al Ansar.
Now, Professor, what are the main factors driving the sharp rise in household debt over the past few years?
Okay, one is inflation, which was not really only in South Africa, but it was a global problem. We saw the inflation rate in South Africa rising from about 3.5% in May 2021 to over 7.8% by May last year. In fact, by now in 2024. In America, it was far worse. It went above 8.5%. So that pushed up the prices of goods. And when we look at the way, because they use weights for the basket of goods in calculating the inflation, it hits the poorest low income groups the worst than the rich groups. COVID-19 did not make things any better then, because when we had COVID-19, people could only afford to buy certain things, and with the supply of goods then being reduced significantly, then people had to struggle to survive. The inflation rate that I was talking about then also made the South African Reserve Bank to push up the repo rate from about 3.5% in October 2021 to 8.25% by May 2023, which continued all the way to September this year in 2024, when the South African Reserve Bank reduced the repo rate to 8% for the very first time in a long time. And then the Russian invasion of Ukraine also made things worse, because as the Western countries or the NATO alliance were trying to punish Russia, then many of the other goods that we buy from Ukraine or Russia were affected, which then pushed up the price, because the loss of supply and demand show that if ever you reduce the supply of goods and the demand remains constant, then the prices shoot up, and that is when people then flock to raise loans from the banks. And those who take loans from the banks are better off, but many of the poorest cannot even be credit worthy. So they go to what we call omashonisa here in South Africa, the loan sharks, and those people have got no limits to with some of them it's 100% per month. So those are the things which made things very difficult for households in general, but mostly for the low income households in particular.
Now, Professor, do you foresee the trend of rising debt continuing, or is there potential for improvement in the near future?
Well, as I've just stated, that for the first time in 3 years, the South African Reserve Bank reduced the repo rate from 8.25 to 8%. And you must remember, the interest rates we pay, we as the ordinary human households, is not that 8.25. We pay what is called or above the prime overdraft rate. With the prime overdraft rate, you always add 3.5%. So the ordinary banks, when they are lending money to us and businesses, they will charge 11.75%, which was 3.5% plus 8.25%. They've reduced, and why is it responsible for pushing up the household debts? It is because most of our goods, almost 90%, are transported by road. So when the inflation is up, and when the fuel prices are up, then the people who transport the goods charge more, and that money those costs are pushed over to us as the end users, and it keeps on going up. So maybe, and we're praying then that as we have less a lower repo rate, even though it's only 25 basis points lower now, it may be the start of the inflation going down and the household costs going down, but it will not go down significantly. So this whole issue of high debt costs for households is going to go on for some time, but at least we are saying this is the beginning of things getting better. But my advice to people is, where they can, they must try and avoid taking credit, taking loans, because loans actually make their situations even worse.
Now, Professor, what warning signs should households look for to avoid falling into a debt trap as the economy continues to fluctuate?
As I say, they must avoid taking loans, especially with the household with the lower income households, where I say most of them rely mostly on loan sharks, and those loan sharks, Omashonisa, charge the highest interest rates, and they are very brutal in getting their money back if people are not paying. So for people to protect themselves against being hard hit by all these problems of rising inflation and costs, then they must plan innocently and seriously for what they buy. Concentrate on what is a need rather than a want, because you'll find that, which is very weird, you'll find that people who are in the lower income groups, the poorest, are the ones who are more brand loyal to the very expensive brands than the people who are rich. And if you buy a product just because of its name, and you could get a similar product as a generic, I am saying buy a generic instead. Unfortunately, I cannot use examples of what I mean here, but people know exactly what I'm talking about. Switch the brands and still get the very same proteins and vitamins by moving to goods which are cheaper.
Professor Bonke Dumisa, thank you very much for joining me in the program this morning. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. But I want to thank you for having joined us and for having shared those thoughts with us. I know you've given us lots of advice, but in maybe 30 seconds, can you share some advice with our listeners?
The advice I can give to South Africans is we must try and be more optimistic in our outlook in South Africa. And not South Africa has got a lot of negativity. That negativity consumes a lot of our energy unnecessarily. And then people focus more on what is wrong rather than what is getting better. I can assure them that under the circumstances, the economic outlook of South Africa look much better than it was six months back. So let us not lose hope. Things are going to get better. But for us to achieve that, every one of us must tie themselves to the promise that I must be one of the people who is productive enough in South Africa to push up the economic growth rate in the country, so that we will all benefit from that. If people just expect that other people will make things better for them and they themselves don't commit themselves to that, then things are not going to get better in the country.
Professor Bonke Dumisa, thank you very much for your advice and for joining me in the program this morning. Do have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. All the best to you, sir.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks. We spoke to Professor Bonke Dumisa, an independent economic analyst, and he spoke to us about the cost of living crisis, continued financial pressure on South African households.
ورد الجوري غنى ودنا والدنيا تضحك لي واحبابي معانا ورد الجوري غنى والدنيا تضحك لي واحبابي معانا طير السما غرد في فرحة لقانا عطر الهوى ردد يا محلى هوانا السما غرد في فرحة لقانا وعطر الهوى ردد يا محلى هوانا ودنا 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 ودنا
WhatsApp message come from Sister Aisha Mohammed, and she says, Salams, Brother Faisal, your show is always insightful and beneficial. I also enjoy your selection of nasheeds. Please keep up the excellent show with the mercy of Allah. Wa alaikum salam and jazakallah khair for those kind sentiments. But I must be honest with you, I thank Brother Aswat for the choice of the nasheeds. Now, in fact, I leave it entirely up to him, and alhamdulillah, so far he's doing an excellent job. Well done, Aswat. Thank you so much. And thank you for those compliments. I'm just looking at the other messages right here. Now, they're all to do with the eye problems. Okay. We've got like a minute to round up. So one final WhatsApp message I'm going to read to you, and then we'll take it from there, inshallah. Okay. It says, "Oh Allah, open this morning for us every door of goodness, happiness, prosperity, and good fortune. Oh, our merciful Allah. Ameen." WhatsApp goes on to say, "One need not fear death, because on the day it will come decreed by destiny. One should not fight what is preordained. From what is fated, no cautious person can escape. Let it be, let people be, let things be. Sometimes the best way to be happy is to learn to let go of the things you tried so hard to hold on to that are no longer good for you. Stop letting it bother you. Just let go. Your mind can only take so much." And the final message says, "Every breath brings us closer to our final destination. A reminder to live in peace, share kindness, appreciate each moment, and embrace the journey with faith and understanding." Thanks to Brother Solly for those beautiful messages that he's forwarded to us. I did say that was the last message, but I think there's one more that I'm going to read out to you. Good morning, it says. "Life is good when you are happy, but life is better when other people are happy because of you. People may not reward you or thank you for what you do, but when God is your reason for loving and giving, you will receive a greater blessing in return." Have a blessed day and have a wonderful day. You're going to be listening to the news shortly by Tabila Duma, and thereafter Kelly Ramzani will be joining you on Careers Compass. Aswat, thank you very much for engineering for me, for a job well done. Haja Kota, thank you for having produced the show. Enjoy the weekend. I'll be back with you next week on Let's Chat, inshallah, on Friday. Sorry. I'm back with you on Tuesday evening on Medical Files. So till then, for myself, Faizal MJ Suleman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أنا حبي وأغني أشعاري، وليل المنى عندي أحلى من نهاري.
Radio Ansar. An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al Ansar News.
Looking for luxury furniture at unbeatable prices? Visit Sukasa Designs in Springfield Park, where style meets affordability. From designer lounge suites to exclusive dining sets, we have everything you need to elevate your space. Hurry, don't miss our special deals. Find us at Springfield Retail Center and transform your home today. Sukasa, personalizing your home.
Are you tired of boring chows that make you yawn louder than your mother-in-law's words? Then perk up those taste buds and head on down to J-Mo's Pizza and Grill. From breakfast to bedtime bites, we've got it all. Chicken tikka, shish kebabs to cheddar steak sandwiches. Swing by and pull into Saxony Westwood Mall's food court. Open daily. Catch us Sunday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on Fridays and Saturdays, we're serving up sizzle till 9 p.m. We deliver. Call us on 082-678-5062. J-Mo's, where every meal's a flavor fiesta. Yeehaw!
You've spent all that time, effort, and energy putting together an incredible business. Now, you need to tell people about your business. Advertising and marketing, it's what we do. Listen to this.
I'd like to say thank you to Al Ansar, because after we aired last week, massive feedback, massive interest, which has been great. We've got so many potential clients in all the different areas, from Pietermaritzburg to Durban North to Virginia.
Speak directly to your target audience. Get in touch with our sales department on 031 208 1601.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al Ansar News.
Making news at Anand, the Verulam Magistrates Court has stressed that there were to be no further delays in the sentencing of 4 men convicted of murdering a Tonga teen whose remains were stuffed into a bag that was filled with bricks and tossed into a river. Good morning, I'm Tabila Duma. The Verulam Magistrates Court has stressed that there were to be no further delays in the sentencing of 4 men convicted of murdering a Tonga teen whose remains were stuffed into a bag that was filled with bricks and tossed into a river. Magistrate Sanele Hlajwayo said this on Thursday in court to the men's newly appointed legal aid attorney Mondlindlela. Kosibomvu secondary grade 12 pupil Andy Lembuto, aged 16, was murdered in